welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. And I think this might be one of the final choices. So, do you want to go in the city? The bus stop standing by the school gates, like a mute sentinel, puts a strange idea in my mind. Do you want to head in town and look for a bookshop or something? We have the rest of the day free. It's a long shot, as Hanako doesn't like going into the city. I count the fact that we managed to get her out here even when it's so dark as a small miracle, but I genuinely want to spend more time with her. Anyway, she's likely to just refuse and go back to, okay. Really? Really, let's go. I can't work out why Hanako has decided to agree with me, but I'm not about to ask her to change her mind. Stepping off the bus, I immediately notice that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course, lots of people will be in downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Monica retreats close to my side, and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine, and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? A bookshop? Monica's present and my other general living expenses have pretty much drained my budget, but I should be able to afford a few books. There's something I try to reserve a few funds for anyway. For a second, I think Hanako didn't hear me, but then I looked to my side and noticed her nodding almost imperceptibly. Okay. Do you know of one? Actually, I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. I've got to remember to stop bringing up her birthday. You both spent a lot of time? Or maybe I misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out? Sure. The crowds start to build as we head towards the bookshop along the raised walkways. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think of a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive? Driving? Yeah, you're kind of lucky in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yamaku that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try and distract Hanako from the situation. She's really highly strung right now. Then again, all I've really done is make her feel awkward since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long, we are before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed by during our search. What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays? Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over weekends? She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself well to someone who enjoys solitude. Huh, I guess that makes sense. It's easier to find books online. Anyway, it looks like this idea is shot. Anything else you'd like to do? If it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present? Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here. I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want a repeat of last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are, Othello's Antiques. It's small. Well, yes, it took Lily and me some time to find it. Can we go in? I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me. Oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time. No, we're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look in here. The store owner considers this for quite a long time. I guess he's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis. Might this be the friend you bought gifts for? That's right, they were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in the headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to the side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger nor annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology. You're lucky there, young lady, to have friends that care about you as much as they do. Thank you. If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't have realized that she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumble was hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the doll section and spends lingering minutes studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I've only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted now to the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite put off by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them. This is a nice shop. Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy something? I didn't bring any money. We could always come again. Well, now that I know where to find it, that is. We can? Of course. We could come here as often as you'd like. Thank you. You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot where this place was. I didn't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather we're just repeating what we think we should say. Can we go back to the school now? Sure thing. Let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There's barely a word said between us on the way back from the city. Well then, goodbye. Do you want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly. I'm tired. Maybe later. I've got homework. She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She's missed a few days of lessons. Homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a stack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. See you, Azao. Before I can say goodbye, Hanako has turned and begun walking towards the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit before going off towards my own dorms. Today was a tiring day. We are approaching the end. Act 4, Scars. I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, and headed off, all as per my usual daily routine. It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour, until every empty seat was eventually taken other than Hanako's. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. It feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Mutuo continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking every so often over to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal. Or at least, it was, Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise, after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end, I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Mutuo looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures, after all. Just when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Lily and Hanako aren't here, the solution presents itself. Afternoon, Hee-chan. Afternoon, Misha. Shizune. You both look as bright as ever. Chi-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today. Sure, it'd be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different though, in how strangely civilized lunchtime lunch is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get into the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in the school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories and the school gate. While the reasons for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like this sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, plucking their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down, after the significant difficulty I had carrying it all in addition to my own lunch. Thank you. Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweet bread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So I'm guessing you two had a reason for dragging me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive after all. What are you saying, Hisham? We don't have an ulterior motive. Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out, before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school. Nope. Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give. Nuh-uh. Fine, you win. I guess you wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me, then. That's it, Hee-chan, you got it. Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing her conversation and sucks the last long noodle as she signs her own thoughts. No one. Hold on. I'm not sure Hazao would exactly work with the Gaston song, but no one's quick as Gaston. Gets in fights like Gaston. No one's neck is incredibly thick as Gaston. Alright. I'm sorry. Shi-chan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She's just doing her duty as a class representative after all. How is she or are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech, but when somebody else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task. It's the class representative's job to ensure everybody's doing alright in class, isn't it? Not really. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll do well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime. Disgraceful. That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that Lily's away and Hanako is absent. Since those two are the only people you hang around with... You also made it kinda obvious to see. Ouch. I may well have done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right, well, thanks, I appreciate it. And that isn't sarcasm. The two nod, and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice, and as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I'd been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. It feels like I'm the only one in class that so much acknowledges Hanako not being there. I felt like this the other time she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? They must have written off any possibility of helping to make her better. Even Mutuo doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Hey Hee-chan, is your juice past its expiry date? What? You were pulling a weird face like this. As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako. Oh? Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's, once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often, especially now, though, with what her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling me that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while. The only person she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily. Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation. There are a couple things we know about Hanako as student council members, thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them due to privacy reasons and stuff. Understandable. It sounds a lot like the nurse's patent confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns out being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try. Don't worry about it, Hee-chan. It happens every year after all. That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but it feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping. Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, Hee-chan? Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Mutuo kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after classes ended, and pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. Oh hi. What's with that response? My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff. Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be aiding in the war effort. And how goes the war? I am preparing. Right now I need money to help with those preparations. If you want me to loan you money, just say it. Nah, man, I'm good. You're good. You don't want my money. Hey, man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that. I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules. School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means. I haven't checked what this... I've never been in a school that had betting against the school rules. Then again, I rarely looked at the school rules because I was barely doing anything too bad. So, I mean, whatever. So what do you need this money for, I dare ask? Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock. At first, it strikes me as At first, it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter? Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves. You don't seriously think it's a non-zero possibility? No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. Look, as someone from Gen Z, all my life, there's been people fear-mongering about wars and stuff, right? And it still hasn't happened. So, I mean, at this point, I'm not gonna prepare. If we get bombed, right? If we get nuked, I'm in an area where I'm gonna be completely honest. The area I'm in right now would be completely glassed, so I wouldn't have to worry about shit. I'd be dead. So honestly, yeah, on the low chance I survive something like that, to tell the truth, I don't give a shit if a war starts. If a war starts, I'm dead. Anyways, whatever. But yeah, like, if you want to prepare for that stuff, that's cool. But like, just to let you know, I'm probably gonna die. That's just the fact of it. So yeah. But how you're kind of just like, actually, this was probably written by someone. Yeah, that's right. This was made in 2012, so it was definitely written by 4chaners that were born before 9/11. So I don't think they had the doom and gloom aspect of life. I don't know. I guess Y2K, that fear-mongering could have been... I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling. Slowly and dramatically raising an eyebrow, as well as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chances, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place, it's infinitesimal. Besides, where can you build your fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it. Really? Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity or something. Knowing Kenji, his dad just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal and Kenji's just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family. Yeah, I got my conspiracy theorist head from my mother. And to tell you the truth, without lack of a better word, my father is a sheeple. He's like, oh, well, if you have nothing to hide, why do you need privacy for? He's literally told me that he doesn't need privacy from the government because he has nothing to hide. And okay, and in a way, okay, sure. But the reason I want privacy, right, is because I do not want people trying to police what I think, what I do, right? I would rather avoid a 1984 situation where I am punished for wrong think. But some people do not understand that. Anyway, so I don't know. Maybe I am paranoid, but yeah. Hey, wanna help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could really make a badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter. I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm busy over the hallways anyway, I'm afraid. A shame. If the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared. And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion, in case that does happen. A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against the blast. That's what the blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better. My mistake. My home's pretty far away from any major military sites, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What'll this do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food, my supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though. I don't think that's long enough. Especially if it's like... Doesn't it take like 200 years for nuclear... I was under the impression it takes like 200 years. I could be wrong, but I was under the impression it takes 200 years for like nuclear fallout to clear up. Like, again, what is it? I'm pretty sure Chernobyl, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, I'm pretty sure those are still, not explorable by the general public, because regular people would still fucking die if they went there, went to those areas. So yeah, 14 days is a pretty long time. It is. I need 1 liter of water a day for drinking, 2 optimally so I can wash as well. Toiletry is easy enough, but garbage bags in a bin placed outside the shelter area. Food means canned supplies, of course. Okay, to tell the truth, if it was a post-apocalypse and I somehow survived, I don't think I would wash myself. Right, I would need as much water as possible for drinking. So unless I had a abundant supply of water, like abundant, I would just give up on washing myself because, well, guess what? We're in the apocalypse practically. And besides, like, people have survived without washing themselves before. Like, washing themselves is a relatively new thing. Like, what was it? I'm trying to think, but you know, people in medieval times didn't do it that much. I mean, there was the Vikings, but like those were the Vikings, and you know, like a bunch of cultures and stuff. Like a lot of them didn't wash themselves, right? They eventually did, as you know, we developed like hygiene and things like that. But like in a very dangerous situation, you really don't need to bathe yourself, especially in a nuclear apocalypse. as strange as it sounds, but don't get me wrong, I like bathing myself, but like as far as like either like getting water to drink or washing myself, I am sacrificing hygiene so I could drink water. I hope that's not too controversial. Good to do. I just got a text from work. I'm checking that later. Anyways, okay, let's continue, shall we? I'm sorry. Of course. And the radios for outside communication? Right, so he can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electric one, in case the electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear airburst fries it too. There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all, though, maybe. As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. Then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. It sounds like you really know what you're doing. Damn right I do. It must be hard living in constant fear like this, if he hardly ever socializes either, so the fact he went bowling with others in itself is something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest in such a distinctly eccentric way. Look, if Hanako had more access to the internet, all I'm saying is that this could be a part of her. You're right, Kenji. We need to get to the bomb shelter. Just write a whole fan fiction of like Hanako and Kenji surviving the atomic blast. Anyways, one thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I've been hanging around with him so much recently. It's late. I had stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though. Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out together, right? For some reason, that compliment actually feels kinda nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means I probably won't be able to fulfill his request. For now, at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you later about it when I can. Cool. Later, dude. He retreats to his dormitory room. Honestly, I kind of wish that, what was it? That ending with Kenji wasn't just immediate death, and we actually did get a platonic friend out of Kenji. Yeah, so we would learn more about conspiracy theories and survival, and build a bunker with him and go bowling, and it'd be fun. It'd be fun. And steal books from the library. I'd better go see Hanako. I stand outside the door of Hanako's room, hoping that she isn't too much of a state, as I nervously clutch the worksheets Mutuo asked me to pass on to her. It's one more reason to visit her, and he gives me something to talk about, so I suppose I should be thankful to him for giving me the task. With a long breath to steady myself, I rap my knuckles on the door in front of me. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer. How strange. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt at getting her to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's just me. Mutuo said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seems just as unsuccessful as the last. Before I slip the sheets under her door, though, I can hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I quickly try to see how Hanako's faring. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown hiding so much of her body. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd have preferred that to her expression right now. She looks terribly tired, and appears to be barely acknowledging my presence. Hi, Hanako. Mutuo wanted to give you these since you weren't in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is devoid of thought. Her posture is slumped in an unusual manner for someone that's so often tense and wound up. Even her eyes keep looking away from mine, doing their best to avoid eye contact. I move my head a little to try to get a better look, but she just ends up turning away. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I could get a nurse. It almost feels pitiful to put on a routine get well soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her, though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. Her head remains turned away, but her eyes move towards me. I'm fine. An awkward silence follows. As it lingers, I notice that the sleeves and cuffs of her gown bear slightly damp stains. Her cheeks are a bit red, too. Has she been crying? I see. I hesitate a little before coming out with the words I really came here to say. Would you like me to stay? I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, so it wouldn't be any trouble. Her eyes slide away from me, and I lose any hope for an improvement of her mood. I wait for a response, but she doesn't say anything, nor give any kind of gesture. She just stands there, looking away from me. Hanako? She slowly shakes her head. Okay, good night then. With that, Hanako steps back and closes her door without a second word. More than a little worried, I retreat back to my room. Wandering up the hallway, I keep mulling over what happened. It felt like Hanako was only half there, as if I was interacting with a robot that it was just doing what it was programmed to without any real thought. She was a husk of a person. This is frustrating. I'd hoped that meeting Hanako would help the situation, but I feel like that it's only made it harder to understand her. How am I supposed to try and help her when she's quite literally shuts me out like that? I don't even bother to turn on the light, opting instead to simply change into my pajamas, quickly choke down my evening pills, and collapse onto my bed. So yeah, either today or tonight, I'm gonna try to fully complete Hanako's route. So, yeah. Once again, Hanako doesn't turn up for classes. Try as I might to concentrate on other matters, the fact continues to distract me throughout the entire school day, and even as I walk through the school gardens to the dormitories. I don't think today being her birthday is a coincidence either. I don't know the link between the two events though, nor do I have any idea on what she's feeling. Were it physical pain, I could at least provide some limited comfort. With something like this though, I have no idea where to start. I run the people I know through my head, thinking about whether they could help. Shizune and Misha don't know that much about Hanako, and what little they do know they can't tell me, same for the nurse. In the end, there's only one person who knows Hanako well, and would be willing to tell me anything. Entering my dormitory room, I notice that something takes me off guard. It's starting to feel familiar. With everything that's going on around me, I'm thankful that this room started to finally be somewhere I can relax a little. When I first entered Yamaku, it felt immediately foreign in any way, from the untouched neatness to the way it smelled. Focusing back on the task at hand, I throw my bag onto the bed as I open the top drawer of my desk. Before she left, Lily told me the number to call her on while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. In hindsight, I wonder if she knew something like this could happen. Now that she's out of reach, I realize just how much both Hanako and I have relied on her for guidance. I dig around drawer after drawer, looking for that damned piece of paper. Eventually, thankfully, I find it nestled under a borrowed library book. I probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone, come to think of it. Without further ado, I enter the numbers and anxiously press the call button. Eventually, the phone picks up. A feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother. Brr, brr, Sato, brr. English. Suddenly, I'm finding myself unprepared. I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since according to Lily, her mother is a native Scot. I cannot do a Scottish accent to save my life. I soldier on in the hope that she will know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. It's Izao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization can be heard as she recognizes the language. My feeling of relief is immense. You must be one of Lily's friends from school, correct? Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak with you, Miss Sato. It's so nice for her to find someone so polite. Lily, dear, it's for you. Her mother seems nice, if a little overenthusiastic given the mundane situation. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up. Hello, Lily speaking. You sound awful. She makes a sound somewhere between a dying animal and a yawn. The one thing I remembered to check before calling was the time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there, so she really has no excuse. Not feeling well? Just tired. What time is it there? Late afternoon. School finished for the day not long ago. Hanako's not well, is she? That was quick. My assumption that she must have known something like this could happen seems to have been on the mark. How did you know? Because today is her birthday. I'd hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to know you, but... How is she right now? She missed school today and yesterday. I still have to check up on her today, to be honest. After seeing how she was when I talked to her yesterday, I'm pretty anxious. I really have no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Is it relating to her scarring in some way? Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring, and Hanako blames herself for their deaths. What? What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may well be ruining that she was ever born. Yeah, that's some like wild stuff. Hanako had mentioned her stay in the orphanage to me. Maybe I should take some heart that she trusts me enough to tell me such a thing. Lily seeming so in the dark about it though, almost to the extent as I am, is a surprise. So that's why she lives in the student dormitories as well. Has she told you any more about the accident? As close as we've come, she's barely told me anything about what happened. What I know about it is largely conjecture. Well, you don't have to know exactly what happened. Right. People are like, oh no, tell me what happened exactly. Tell me what happened. Use your context clues. Use your brain. Anyways, she sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I can't really fault Lily for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lily, with everything she's gone through. There's a long silence from the other end of the line. I begin to wonder if the call cut out before the voice at the other end speaks once again. There's another person, though, that has been a subject of worry for me as of late. Oh? I run through the people she could be talking about in my head. The only friends she seemed to keep close are Hanako and me, though there is Akira as well. That person is you, Hizao. There's another silence on the line, but this time it's caused by me. Making others worry about me is something that I've actively tried to avoid since coming to Yamaku. Indeed, even my interaction with Hanako has helped stave off any major health problems, thanks to our relaxed and slow-paced lives. Uh-huh? What is there to worry about over me? I apologize, I didn't mean any offense. Sorry, I was just taken a bit off guard. Still, isn't Hanako a bigger problem at the moment? For some time now, I've thought about how the both of you may be feeding into each other's more worrying habits. I tend to amend this before leaving, but it seems to have done little. Worrying habits? When I asked you about what you had in mind for the future, your answer was very similar to what Hanako has said in the past when that question was posed to her. It is well and good to want to protect her, but I fear that treating Hanako like this, as if she were a daughter or someone in need of special care, is only going to achieve the opposite. The situation got effectively turned on its head. After everything that's happened, this is the first time I find myself doubting Lily's judgment. Okay, I'm going to save here. Great new save. There you go. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you the truth. I think Hizao, like, really Hanako's route, right? I think Hizao and Hanako are the worst couple. right? In this game, by far. They are the worst couple because, again, what Lily just said, they actively feed into each other's worst impulses, right? And again, they have to. I'll get into more into it during Lily's route because, to tell you the truth, I think Hanako has a much better outcome than in the Hanako route, which is very strange. So, anyway, like the simple fact that like it, how do I say this? Hazao seems more, again with the white knight gentleman thing. Hazao like turns it up to 11 during this route, and honestly, it wasn't as bad in like the Emmy route or in like other routes, but here I think we see Hazao at some of his worst, and we're gonna get over that during the bad ending and the neutral ending. So that's gonna be interesting. So, anyways, I did save, right? Okay, yeah. So, I'm going to agree with Lily. I don't want to admit it, but she may have a point. Something else bugs me, though. And you tried to amend this? Wait, our outing into the city? Quite astute. I thought that it might help if I dragged you both out of Yamaku and into the wider world. I'm thankful you became closer for it, though. So she noticed that. I suppose she may well have been paying attention to us, and her hearing's incredibly good. Quite likely good enough to have picked up what we were talking about if she tried. That sounds more and more like you're manipulating us. Silence. It's a harsh way of putting it, but I have no intention of stepping back from those words. I'm sorry, I was just worried about you. It's fine, I guess there are more important things anyway. It's not a total surprise that she'd do such a thing. Her motherly nature can be slightly overbearing at times, but she does have the best intentions. So you think I should think about myself more instead of trying to cater to Hanako? That largely sums it up. Again, I'm sorry for not telling you this in a much cleaner way before going behind your back. I know I am at least as guilty of being overprotective of Hanako as you, but I fear that you're neglecting yourself in your efforts to give Hanako happiness. Do you really think Hanako would be okay? She isn't as fragile as you think, and I don't know what experiences she's lived through or what feelings she's had in her mind, but she has managed to work her way through them until now. It's also my hope that giving her a little space will allow her to decide what she truly wants for herself and give her the initiative to reach out for it. Please have faith in Hanako. That's all I ask. I'll guess. I'll think about it for a while. That's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. I know that at times you may doubt your relationship to Hanako, but she does. Lily cuts herself off and takes a moment to reconsider her words. Please keep in mind that I wouldn't have befriended you if I hadn't thought you a fundamentally good person. You're a good friend, both to myself and to Hanako. Thank you, that helps. We share some small talk to try and lighten the atmosphere, but it feels very stilted. There's a lot I don't know about Lily's stay in Scotland, but after such a heavy subject, I want to be alone for a bit to think. After a few minutes, we end up saying our goodbyes and I set my phone on my desk. Compared to Hanako's situation, mine feels utterly mundane. I still have both of my parents and I had a reasonably normal childhood. And unlike many in Yamaku, my condition isn't immediately visible to the public. But then again, isn't this just an attempt to justify the way I've been acting towards her? That may well be what our pasts are like, but when it comes to the future, I still have no idea what I want to do. In school, I've just concentrated on each day's work and I've put off more and more things to cater to Hanako. I recall the words Mutuo told me after Hanako's breakdown about the purpose of Yamaku in my education. In hindsight, he was probably trying to push exactly the same thing. Just what have I been just what have I been doing since in the time since my heart attack? If I ever did manage to get Hanako out of her room and to open up, what then? I look out of my dormitory window as the sun slowly sets. It's a nice sight, but what I really savor is the quiet as the students return to their dormitory rooms. All I want to do now is think. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I want to work out where I'll go from here. I'm considering whether or not I should stop here or just continue until I get an ending. I think I'll just continue until I get an ending. Since talking to Lily yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I felt ever since coming to Yamaku. But even if I try to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to her desk again, and my mind starts spinning. Once more my eyes drift over to it, but this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. Oh hey Miki. Maybe you should just have lunch. I can hear your stomach growling from my desk. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction and hops onto my desk. Her grin, as she sits on it, reminds me of the Cheshire cat. So what you working on? Some math. I have a decent handle on it, but I just wanted to revise. Oh really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs my mathematics books with her hand. She scans the page I was on, holding it open with the one hand she has, her left arm sitting uselessly on her lap. In my time here at Yamaku, I've noticed that the other students have a wide range of adjustment to their disabilities on a purely practical level. Miki is one of those who seem to have some trouble. The stump on her left arm tends to be either hanging by her side, slipped into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. Yeah, I can see that. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm thankful that Hanako and I don't have disabilities affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Yeah. Then again, if Miki's problem worsened, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. What the... Okay, my attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents with such a casual interest in the subject matter. It's clear by now that she won't be any help. I'm guessing you're not too interested in this stuff? Screw math, it's boring as hell. She puts the notebook back in front of me with indifference. Her eyes move to the notebook beside it that I've been working out practice equations on. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Yeah? Wow, I've never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better in this than history. For me, it's the opposite. I always did history better than math. Anyways. Think it's worth asking that librarian for help? I heard she's shooting for uni. Yuko? Maybe. I don't know what she wants to study, though. So what about you? Got anything you're thinking of doing after you graduate? Me? Nah, not really. Just enjoying it while it lasts. She looks a little awkward when asked about her future and absentmindedly rubs her left forearm. I kind of want to ask her about it, but I don't think I know her well enough to do so. The conversation peters out, and I lean back in my chair, giving up on the prospect of studying. Miki notices my tired expression looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako? Isn't it obvious? You've been glancing at her seat and you've been pretty quiet. It's not hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get weird sometimes. She sounds put off, but I can't blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me, even with Lily around to help. I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I hadn't developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. I mean, no offense, she isn't a bad person, I know that much. I know, I didn't take it that way. It's just harder to deal with when, well, you know, you have feelings for someone. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like that, like what happened to her during class, too. I wish she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticed by others in the room as well. Come on, don't get that down. She's done this before. You just gotta wait it out. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time, ever since she entered Yamaku, if not before then as well. And I'm not supposed to be concerned about that? Well, I think that, but there's nothing that I can do. I can't force her to come out. And she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting any help for her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're so powerless to help someone. That's just the way she is, and you'll have to deal with it. As I mull things over, I noticed a movement out of the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is, and end up doing a double take. Hello! Sure enough, it's Hanako. She walks through the door, just as she would any normal school day, and begins to move towards her seat in her usual silent and humble manner. She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing it is hard after all that's happened. The girl sitting at on my desk looks to me, grinning. See, your sweetheart's back already. What did I tell you? You be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hits close enough that it makes me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls Miki's name from the door. She jumps down from her vantage points on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hazao. Remember to eat sometime, will ya? Fine, I will. See you. She gives a casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in a gym uniform is waiting for her. Probably someone from the track and field club. Is it the captain? the mysterious captain from Emmy's Row. Okay, I'm done. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk. Hello. Hi, Hanako. What's up? Nothing. Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class was a bad move. Want to come with me and grab something from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry. But I thought you were studying. Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time must have taken some courage for Hanako. So the least I can do is stay with her. That's just the way she is, and you have to deal with it, is the way Miki and probably the class as a whole views Hanako. I can do more for her, though. I want to do more for her. After being distracted by Miki, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking. These may be small steps for her, but the fact that she's finally come out of her room of her own volition lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Yippee! My pen busily scrawls into a slowly filling page of my notebook. My other hand remains on a page of a reference book I borrowed from the library, marking my spot as my eyes flicker to and fro. As I work, I occasionally mark red circles or underlines into the photocopied sheets of paper that lie on the table in front of me. Wanting a change of scenery from the library and to avoid the distractions of the classroom, I decided to make use of the Shanghai for some quiet study time. It ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Yeah, I don't really have any, small cafes and stuff near me, so I really just, hide in my room to write and read and stuff. You know. Of course, I still go outside and walk around and work out, but, if I need quiet, right, I don't really have an area like that around here because, there is a park nearby, but the park is constantly crowded with children in the summertime, and considering I'd rather not hang out with a bunch of kids. Sorry, but yeah, there's no smaller cafes and stuff like that, so plus I'm near a bunch of intersections, so all the stores around me, even if I were to go and get, something to eat, they're all, fast food garbage, so, yeah. Anyways. So, yeah, if I want to eat healthy, I have to, cook something myself, so, Yeah, there's that. So like, honestly, the Shanghai seems like a nice place. I wish I had a Shanghai near me. Anyways, it ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Hanako may have returned to her normal self since she came out of her room, but I've done quite the opposite. My daily routine may have returned to us, but I feel as if I'm a different person. Maybe I'm not. It's only been a few days after all, since I decided I wanted to try and get out of the rut I found myself in after my accident. But I want to change, and now I'm actively working towards that goal. Or at least I would like to think that I am. This is impossible. Brute forcing this isn't going to work. What's more, I have another piece of writing I have to do after this. I fear that's going to be no easier. I look up in mild surprise to the source of the tentative voice. Yuko stands at the head of the table with a damp towel in hand, clearly having taken the opportunity to clean the tables, while no other patrons were around. She looks curious as her eyes as much on my work as on me. What's the matter? I was just wondering, what sort of work are you having so much trouble with? Oh, it's just history. I'm fine with science and math, so I'm trying to get my other subjects up to par. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe it's because I started reading a lot, but like, how do I say this? After middle school, I did not have issues with English that often. Of course, I still have issues with reading aloud, as you can tell from my videos. But like, when I was in school, I did not have issues with English. Like the major subject I had issues with were math, and that's it. I did not get the math autism, unfortunately. So yeah. Yuko looks positively delighted at this development. I feel like I chose the right answer on some big quiz show. Oh, I think I can help you with that. You don't mind, of course. I briefly consider turning down the offer in order to not cause her too much trouble, but she looks too excited about this for me to do it. It would be mean to shoot her down like that after such a reaction. If you're willing to help, I'd really appreciate it. She claps her hands together and quickly deposits her towel on the counter before returning and taking a seat across from me. I take my notebook off the top of the textbook and hand it over for her to peruse. So you're studying the Edo period? Yeah, I'm not really good at this though. She takes the textbook and reads a few pages from a random section near the middle for a bit, but the aura of enthusiasm she'd been radiating previously is rapidly sapping away. I'm guessing this isn't the kind of history you were expecting. Unfortunately not. My main area is European history, especially in the classical era. Sorry. She looks a bit downcast, as if as she carefully closes the book and lays it back down on the table, her face perks up again. Would you like another cup of coffee? Oh yeah, sure. I reach forward and get my book back as Yuko gets up, takes my mug, and slowly walks to the counter to make another brew. As usual, she's absolutely silent as she does this. Every ounce of her concentration is focused on not tipping over or dropping the plain white mug. I take the opportunity to lay back and relax for a bit, the hum of the coffee machine filling the otherwise quiet air. It's small details like that which make me realize how much I've come to appreciate the little things in life. The peace and quiet of the local town, the discipline and order of Yamaku, the green of the trees that were so rare in my home city, the relaxed pace at which the aging residents live their lives. Everything feels so certain. It's comforting. I can feel myself beginning to nod off when the sound of the mug coming to rest on the table grabs my attention. It seems like it arrived not a moment too soon. Yuko takes her previous seat once again, as I pick myself up and bring a hand to the mug to check its temperature. It's just a little too hot to drink right away, so I blow on it a little. It's a shame you don't like history all that much. I sort of guessed you might be more into science. How so? You've nearly read out the science fiction section of the library already. It wasn't hard to notice. You do have a good point there. Well, what can I say? You've pegged me just about right. You sound like you do really take an interest in history, though, especially considering how specific you are about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? Go on digs over... Hold on. You sound... You sound like you have an interest in history, though, especially considering how specific you were about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? She giggles nervously at the thought. I'd like to visit the Mediterranean sometime and see the old architecture and art for myself, but I don't think I could trust myself to handle such delicate things. I'm saving up to formally study it in university, although I also read up on it whenever I have free time outside of work. So Miki was right about her university aspirations. Considering how she fares as a waitress, a more theoretical path may suit Yuko better. It's nice to hear that she has some ambitions, though, considering how hard she works. I nod and take a careful sip of my coffee. By now, it's cooled to the right temperature, so I begin to drink while keeping an eye on the book below, trying to read it at the same time. A few minutes pass quickly, Yuko looking out the window and watching the world go by, while I have my coffee and study. A movement catches my eye, and I look up to see Yuko smiling and waving to someone outside. Following her gaze surprisingly reveals the someone to be Hanako. She's looking at us from the side of the street across where we are. Her usually all too visible timidity is largely absent, probably thanks to there being so few people around right now. Evidently, she decides to join us, as after a little wave, she gives a quick glance up and down the street and crosses towards the side that the cafe is on. The familiar doorbell to the Shanghai rings out as Hanako enters and makes her way to the table we're sitting at. Hello. Good afternoon. Hey Hanako, what's up? Nothing, just going for a walk, since the weather was nice. Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm glad I decided to study here instead of the library. It's comfortable in here thanks to that. Better than the sometimes quite stuffy library. I look to Yuko, who nods in response. It's nice. It's a shame that summer can't last forever. Oh wait, sorry, would you like a drink? Personally, I can't wait for summer to end. It's been incredibly hot. Anyway, Hanako shakes her head. Thankfully, it's enough to calm Yuko back down. How are you going with studying? Okay-ish. Oh yeah, have you talked with Lily? I'm interested in too. How's she doing? She's enjoying it, I think. I think. That's all we're gonna get out of her. Being around Yuko is tensing her up. It would be so nice to travel to Scotland. Green fields, castles, lovely small towns, men in kilts, interesting history. I can't say I see the appeal of men in kilts myself. It does seem like a picturesque place, though. As we talk, the jingle of the doorbell rings again. Hanako is startled, noticing Yuko's panicked expression at the prospect she might leave customers to wait a handful of seconds due to her chatter with us. As Yuko gives us a quick bow, then hastily skitters over and greets the new customers, an elderly man and his wife, I watch her for a bit, craning my head around to get a good view. Hanako is staring at me with her one visible eye. She averts her head in embarrassment as I turn to make eye contact. I was just thinking, that it's nice to have ambitions for the future. Yuko was telling me a little about her university aspirations before. Oh? It's a shame. If she wasn't so neurotic and overworked, I think she could be a really happy person. As much as I'd like to play host to Hanako and entertain her a bit, I do need to study as well. To be honest, I don't think the distraction from Yuko helped earlier. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted, I need to try to get this done. Otherwise I'm going to flunk the history exams pretty hard. I'm left running my hand through my hair in frustration. That letter needs doing as well once I get back to my dormitory room. I hope to have more luck with that than this, damn. With what with? Oh, I was going to write to Iwanako. Right now, though, this is more important. All I've done is rattle to myself. I can't focus on the work in front of me when my stomach is slowly turning at the prospect of actually attempting to write her back after all this time. I force myself to concentrate on the book, picking up my pen once I have a quick sip of coffee. After a few seconds, Hanako stops silently watching me and leans back in her seat, relaxing as much as he ever seems to be able to, looking out the window to pass the time. We stay like this for a long time before leaving for the dormitories together. I'm surprised she had the patience to wait me out. Iwanako's letter lies on my desk beside a blank sheet of lined paper and an unused envelope. The tapping of my pen is the only thing to be heard this late at night. As I feared, my second task for the day turns out to be just as difficult as the first, if not harder. It's been so many months since we saw each other. Even so, I can still remember the way she looked. I can still remember what she looked like, what she sounded like, and what she acted like. By now, though, the little details are beginning to slip away. When I first saw her letter, I barely recognized her handwriting at all. Even the pink pen she always used was forgotten until her writing reminded me of it. I wonder why she didn't use it for the letter. She used to write everything with it. Maybe she thinks it's too immature now? I should be thinking about myself, and what I want to communicate to her. My mind can't stop concentrating on her, though, on the past we shared before it was taken away so suddenly. The bright and slightly garish decorations suit her sense of aesthetics. Picking up the letter to take a closer look at it, I gave a long sigh. This is the last link binding me to my past. Iwanako didn't suddenly cease to exist when she left my hospital room for the last time, but I needed this letter to remind me of that. I had all those feelings neatly filed away. I felt as if I didn't need them, that I could just begin life completely anew. It was easier that way. In the end, I suppose that was a rather naive thing to think. Sooner or later, my past would have caught up with me one way or the other. But what am I supposed to say to her? Thank you for bringing me closure? All the letter did was end the sense of closure I'd previously felt. Try as I might, I can't write so much as a single word down on paper in front of me. I can't even think of what exactly I want to say. Putting the letter down in front of the blank sheet, I gather the materials together and file them away in my drawer. The clunk my desk makes as it closes makes me momentarily tense in frustration before I get up to go grab a drink from the vending machine on the first floor. I tried, but I couldn't do it. After all the time that's passed, I still don't know how to deal with Iwanako. What? The library, while not humming with activity, is noticeably more busy than usual. Exams are not far away, and that's reflected in the number of students burying their noses in textbooks at the tables around us. I've been studying quite a lot the past few days, just like them, in hope of doing well in the exams. This also means that Hanako and I have been playing games less, so she's been studying as well just to fill in the time. Nevertheless, I found myself forsaken by her on this particular day. The textbook in front of me has remained on the same page for some time. After so much reading on subjects I couldn't care less about if not for the exams, my mind is beginning to wander. I find my eyes flicking over to where Hanako would usually be. Just like on the days she wasn't in class, her usual beanbag in the corner of the room is conspicuously unoccupied. It was here that we first really met. I tried to start a conversation with her. She got skittish and eventually bolted from the room altogether. I probably shouldn't smile about it, but it was kind of amusing in hindsight. Nowadays, it's more and more difficult to imagine her doing such a thing, even with Lily gone. She's been doing well now that she's come out of her room. I want to talk with her, or at least play another game of chess. I'm tired of studying, and it's been a few days since we've really done anything together. The question of where to find Hanako isn't a particularly difficult one. If she's not in the library, chances are that she's either in the tea room for some peace and quiet, or in her dormitory room. Deciding to check them in that order, I pack up my books and make my way out of the library. I stretch and give a loud groan as I walk down the hallway. Studying may be frustrating at times, but with the progress I feel I've made, there's also a sense of pride in getting it done. It's a good feeling. There isn't a sound to be heard from inside as I stand in front of the door to Hanako's room. I guess that isn't very indicative of whether she's inside or not, given how quiet she usually is. Still, she wasn't in the tea room. I tried knocking lightly to make my presence known, but I am surprised when I find the door unlocked and yielding at my touch. With a small creak, the door opens. It looks like my suspicions are correct. Hanako is indeed here. She's sitting at the table with an open book in front of her, but pays it no heed as she keeps looking out the window. She looks utterly oblivious to my presence. With her head thoughtfully resting on her hand, she looks calm and collected. It's a shame she can't look like this more often. Smiling a little, I walk up to the table and softly speak to her. Good evening, Hanako. Hanako's head, Hanako's head turns little to see me, but she's still only half there. I put a hand on the table and lower my head to better look at her face, mildly curious about what mood she's in. What's up? She gasps a little, finally acknowledging my presence in the room for the first time. Hanako's blushing really heavily. Her mouth is open just a little, as if paused mid-sentence. Almost striking, though, is what she's doing. Oh boy. She's looking directly at me. Her eyes are pinned on my own from such a close distance that I could almost see my reflection in them. They don't turn away, nor move at all. They're absolutely still, just looking into mine. Oh god, she's getting closer. Oh no. They're dark, and give her a most analytical air. Even with reading on subjects she has no interest in, she would appear to be wrapped in her homework to a casual observer. She absorbs information very well, and even now I can feel that. I feel like I'm seeing something behind those eyes that I never saw before. I don't know what it is, though. Hanako? Her lips move just a little, silently mouthing something. She looks like she's on the verge of saying something but won't say it. But that's the way Hanako always is, on the verge of saying something but never quite doing it. As I looked intently into her eyes, I realized something. Everyone has their own thoughts, things they want to say, their own worldview. But I can't work out what but I can't work out what Hanako wants to say, and I can't work out what she's thinking. I never have been able to do so. It's frustrating. It feels that I don't know her at all, despite all the time we've spent together. Zao? It's only now that I find myself blushing. I've been looking directly into Hanako's eyes from such a short distance with absolutely no regard for her, and she's been looking into mine without shirking away. I quickly look away while covering my face with my hand. Hanako does the same. Another awkward silence reigns. I hate these. At first I accepted them as being a fact of life around Hanako, but now all they feel like is an affirmation about how little we're able to communicate. Some anger makes its way in the complex mixture of emotions I'm experiencing right now. I want to bridge that gap between us. Friends shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other like this. I speak before I can argue myself out of what I'm going to do. My scarring isn't bad as Hanako's, and I can't possibly compare my life to hers, but I want to show her that she's not alone. Doing this in such a blunt manner might be the only way to get my point across. Hanako, I want to show you something. I take a deep breath to prepare myself. This could backfire badly, but I feel as if we've come close enough for this to be okay. I'm not going to strip naked or anything weird. I'm just going to take off my shirt. Hanako's eyes grow to the size of saucers. Her face is an amusing mixture of curiosity and nervousness as she stands. It helps take the edge off my own nervousness at doing this in front of another person. Slowly, with my entire body feeling tense, I unknot my tie and begin to loose the first of the buttons. I'm trying to mentally block out Hanako to make this easier, but it's not really working. As I work my way down, I expect to hear some form of protest from her. She remains silent though, which just makes this feel even stranger. With the last of my shirt unbuttoned, I take a breath and look at her. Hanako's gaze is fixed on my scarring, as expected, and once I nod to say it's okay, she steps forward and tentatively places her hand on the vertical line running down my chest. The scarring on her hand, a pattern of damaged skin across the surface, contrasts with the single uniform line that makes up mine. Her hand isn't trembling at all, unlike what I predicted. This is... the scar from the surgery that followed my heart attack. The surgeons had to cut open my chest to operate on my heart. I never knew. Hanako's words are calmer and softer than usual. The soft feeling of her fingers moving from my scar to my breast makes me hesitate a little before continuing on. You're the first person to see this since I left the hospital. But why are you showing this to me? I wanted to prove myself that I could do this, that I could accept my past and move on. I wanted to show that to you as well. She nods. From her reaction, she seems to know how difficult this is for me. More than anything, the scar represents a visible reminder of my condition, a reminder that I'm not normal anymore. There's something that, until now, I've tried my best to ignore. As the minutes tick by, Hanako's gaze lingers. Her eyes look less focused on my scarring than before. The situation feels a bit different than it previously did, and makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Her hand retreats, and I draw my shirt closed and begin to button it up. Her blushing face suddenly returns to its typical sense and timid state as she looks away. The room is completely silent as I fix my shirt and tie, feeling put off after such an unexpectedly intimate moment. So I guess you're not the only one that's scarred. Hanako smiles a little at the joke, thankfully lighting the atmosphere a bit. Thank you, Hazao. I think I understand. I give a long sigh of relief. I really didn't know how she'd take it, but I'm glad everything seems to have worked out as I hoped. Hanako's smile only proves that further. I'm finding the path I want to follow now, and what Hanako needs to do is find her own. It's something I can't help her with, and it's something she needs to overcome her past in order to do. Hanako checks her watch. It's getting late by now. Hazao, Yeah, I'd better be going. I'll be thankful for some sleep. It's been a long day, after all. Good night, Hanako. Good night. I make my way out of her room and into the hallway, remaining silent as I do so. I think the both of us have gone through a few emotions today. Okay, so... Okay, so I'm going to have to break this up into multiple episodes. Like, I have a distinct feeling. I don't know, though. Jeez. Yeah, look. Here's the thing. The flowchart I have doesn't show for how long. Yeah, the flowchart I have doesn't show for how long it is. So basically, I'm gonna create a new save state, and I'm going to stop this recording and then record another episode. So, it's been Dean the Autist. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching. And for me, I'm just going to press a button and then press it again. So have a nice day. Thank you.